Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. We appreciate you being here with us. It is tax day, which means that if you haven't already filed your return by now, there's a good chance that you've been holding off because you owe. Some of us really understand that. And that's where the folks over at Tax Network USA may be able to help. Cameron Kinsey from TNUSA is here with details on some of the services they offer. Cameron, good morning. I suspect that statement I just made, people who've held off until now to pay their taxes or at least to file, it's probably because they don't want to pay the IRS any more money.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to fight back against this government enforcement. I also just talked to Natalie Winters this morning with the War Room Posse. She didn't even know the tax deadline was today. So I think people are all over the place. We're getting an influx of calls, Terrence, and people don't know their options. They don't know what's available to them. And the IRS isn't going to just put this out there freely, all these resources that could be available to you. That's why it's so important to have professionals in your corner like Tax Network USA who know the tax code inside and out. We have a robust team of CPAs, licensed attorneys, even former IRS agents that know the tax code inside and out and are willing to help you. They basically act as a liaison between you and the IRS, so you're not having to deal with them yourself right now.
So what happens if someone ignores today's deadline to either pay their balance or at least to get the paperwork in?
Right. I mean, we get this question all the time, like, would it be harder or worse to not file or not to pay? And what if somebody ignores this? Well, that's where, the IRS will start to begin to send notices. These notices may escalate. The fewer options that you will have after this deadline. The thing is, we always tell people, get ahead of this, talk to somebody today about your options and what's available to you, because those penalties will start to stack up after the deadline has passed. And we want to make sure that we are presenting the best possible case on your behalf to the IRS to keep your hard-earned money in your own pocket. So make sure that you're getting ahead of this. Don't let fear control your life right now. We see too many people who are too embarrassed or they don't want to tell one of our agents the entire problem. We've seen probably tens of thousands of cases just like yours. Don't let fear dictate this right now. And make sure to talk to a professional about this, because we've saved people over $1 billion in back taxes, and we want to just be a resource for you at this time.
And there are people who owe. At this point, as I said at the very beginning, there's probably a good chance that most of the people who haven't already filed owe, and they've been trying to put off having to pay. If, in fact, you do owe the IRS, do you have to pay immediately, or is that where TNUSA can kind of help to push those payments back a little bit or to help you make those payments in increments?
Oh, yes, there's definitely tons of options available to you, whether that's offers in compromise, hardship status requests, innocent spouse relief. We basically tailor it to your needs. We look at your entire financial picture. And a lot of people, Terrence, make the mistake of, well, I have to have all this necessary documentation and everything ready. No, you don't. We actually help with that process as well, wherever we're retrieving those documents from. So just come as you are if you have any introductory questions. But again, the biggest mistake is waiting. You should call now, because the earlier you act, the more options that you are going to have and the more control that you keep over the situation, so it doesn't turn into something that's spiraling after the April 15th deadline. So again, we know the tax code inside and out. We know how to help you. It's just that person making that first initial step to call us and ask for help.
In the past, you and I have talked, and that initial call is a free one. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is completely free. We're also extending that free investigative call up until today for our RAV listeners, because we've had so many people call us about this. It's been so helpful. If you don't know where you stand with the IRS, you don't know what they have on you, if they've assigned an agent to your case, don't panic. We do that free investigative call, which normally happens once you become a client. After that free initial consultation, it normally costs hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, just depending on the complexity of your case. But again, we're doing that for RAV listeners absolutely free, because Terrence, we know how stressful this time is. I'm somebody who doesn't know the tax code inside and out. That's why it's just so important to have these professionals in your corner. Take advantage of these free opportunities while you still can with the deadline here today. Don't let the deadline pass where your options become more and more limited.
Absolutely. And all the information to get in touch with TNUSA is on your screen. Thanks so much, Cameron.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel, locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills
And Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
We rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are. This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, kicking off another brand new day. Glad to have you on board for the conversation as we get into it today. It is another brand new day here. We've got a lot to cover, as we always do. We're going to cover some things we haven't covered before. Three big things to know this hour. Number one, a potential devastating blow is delivered against Hezbollah by the Israeli military, killing scores of military leaders inside of Lebanon, as the focus on rooting out terrorists continues. Number two, the rumors about Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito stepping down getting louder today, and President Trump says he's ready to fill a vacancy if it should become available. And number three, President Trump and his administration are not backing down from their public disagreements with Pope Leo. And I, for one, don't have a problem with it. Some people do. I don't, and I'll tell you why. When Pope Leo was chosen as the next leader of the Catholic Church, there were a lot of question marks about his political leanings. He was not even considered a contender. He was an American dark horse at best from Chicago. A registered Republican, apparently, but he has a long checkered voting history and a lot of left-leaning tweets, and so far has criticized President Trump more than he has shown any kind of support for him. That's true. His latest attacks have focused on the war in Iran, and instead of directing his condemnation toward the Islamic regime that slaughtered tens of thousands of its own people, he's directed his criticism, most of it, if not all of it, only at President Trump. He told reporters that the war is unjust and not resolving anything. Here's an example.
I would simply say, once again, what I said in the Urbi message on Sunday, asking all people of goodwill to search always for peace and not violence, to reject war, especially a war which many people have said is an unjust war, which is continuing to escalate and which is not resolving anything. In fact, we have a worldwide economic crisis, energy crisis, situation in the Middle East of great instability, which is only provoking more hatred throughout the world. Okay. So come back to the table. Let's talk. Let's look.
Yeah, all right. So is it escalating? Not that I can see. Is there a global energy crisis? Not so far. Global economic crisis? Not so far. Those are great exaggerations. Not accurate at all. If there's one thing that's always true about Donald Trump, it's that he does not pander. He does what he thinks needs to be done, regardless of how popular it makes him or it doesn't make him. It's been his approach to this conference. It's been his approach to life. Right? Trump took to Truth Social to criticize the Pope, calling him soft on crime. Among other things, he didn't apologize. Reporters who wanted to get that gotcha moment, of course. There he is.
We believe strongly in law and order, and he seemed to have a problem with that, so there's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
Yeah. This wasn't the first time that Pope Leo and Donald Trump have criticized each other. Pope Leo criticizing Trump more, as you can tell. He's done it many times and has posted that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword and drop bombs. But now when asked about Trump's criticism of him, Pope Leo told reporters that he's not afraid of the Trump administration. that his priority apparently is the gospel and not foreign policy. Here's more.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel. And that's what I believe. I am called to do what the church is called to do. We're not politicians. We're not looking to make foreign policy, as he calls it, with the same perspective that he might understand it. But I do believe that the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers, is a message that the world needs to hear today.
All right, so just wait a minute here. You cannot throw rocks and make comments on foreign policy and then run behind your pulpit and claim, oh, you don't do that. Well, quite clearly you do. You can't have it both ways, talk politics and then hide behind the pulpit to defend yourself against political blowback. Trump has every right to disagree with the Pope. The president is one making the difficult decisions. The Pope is not. The Pope had nothing to say about Trump being a peacemaker, by the way, when Trump served as the negotiator in 7 other wars around the world that he helped to end. No, the Pope was silent on all of those conflicts, and let's be clear. The Iranian regime is not a peaceful regime. There'd be no peace in the world if Iran possessed a nuclear weapon. None. So who's to say that Trump doesn't believe he's making for peace by eliminating that threat? You eliminate Iran as a threat to the Middle East, you stabilize the Middle East. Have you brought peace to the planet? You pushed it closer, I believe. Vice President J.D. Vance says that the Pope should be more careful when using theology to criticize the war effort. By the way, J.D. Vance, a Catholic, here he is.
Number one, when the Pope says that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword, there is more than 1,000-year tradition of just war theory. Okay? Now, we can, of course, have disagreements about whether this or that conflict is just, but I think that it's important, in the same way that it's important for the Vice President of the United States to be careful when I talk about matters of public policy, I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology. And I think that one of these issues here is that there has been, again, hey, random dude screaming, I told you I'd respond to your point. I just want to respond to this question first. But I think one of the issues here is that if you're going to opine on matters of theology, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's anchored in the truth. And that's one of the things that I try to do. And it's certainly something I would expect from the clergy, whether they're Catholic or Protestant. Now, to move on.
All right, random dude screaming. I just find that amusing. Like I said, Vance is a baptized and confirmed Catholic. But he's argued before that the Pope should stick to Scripture. Let the president deal with foreign policy. Better plan. Speaker Mike Johnson, a devout Christian himself, has also responded to the conflict, warning that if you wade into political waters, I think you should expect some political response. And now my guess is that Pope Leo is your average Chicago liberal. So I'm not too shocked by his takes on any of it. But I don't need to take them on faith, all right? I don't need to get in line. Pope Leo's predecessor, Pope Francis, set a terrible precedent for cuddling up to progressive Democrats and turning a blind eye to their anti-Christian policies. That's concerning. The Catholic Church has reaffirmed over and over again that marriage is between a man and a woman, defended national sovereignty over immigration, upheld the ban on ordaining women as priests or deacons, and described abortion as evil. This is the Catholic Church doctrine. And despite all of that, they ignore their own teachings, it seems. Joe Biden called himself a Catholic, but opposed every single one of those positions that I just laid out for you. But he was never excommunicated from the church, and Pope Francis held lots of cozy meet and greets with him during his presidency. An open and proud advocate for abortion on demand that you should pay for up to the moment of birth. I had this conversation with some Catholics recently. How can the Pope do that? If the Catholic Church is opposed to abortion, how do you sit there and endorse people who openly endorse abortion? Fair question, isn't it? On theology. I'll have more after this.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel, locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel, clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills
And Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When the world takes its shots, some break, others rise. From Rachel Holt comes Ammunition in collaboration with Bass Records. Stand against the noise, the hate, the voices trying to tear you down. Every word thrown your way. Fuel to fight back stronger. Scan the QR code and download now on iTunes. Turn pressure into power. Own it today. Only on Real America's Music.
So bring it, knock me, tear me, rock me, mow me down. Roll your words, take your aim and take me out. Keep on shooting and missing if it makes you feel strong, and I'll keep stocking up on ammunition. On ammunition.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
My name is Tina, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm so grateful to be able to get my news from an organization like Real America's Voice, whose conservative values align with my own.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with a family I love.
All right, let me be clear here. Got lots of friends that are Catholic. And this is in no way an affront to Catholicism or to the Catholic friends that I have or to their community. I'm not Catholic. But let's be honest, the Pope is out of his league on this one, out of his lane. You work your side of the street, pal, we'll work ours, all right? I mean, that's kind of what it goes back to. You work your side of the street. And the Pope, remember this, even encouraged Joe Biden to keep taking communion, even though he's an avowed abortionist. Devout. Here it is.
No, it didn't. It came up and just talked about the fact that he was happy I was a good Catholic and keep receiving communion. He said that you should keep receiving communion. Yeah.
Now, look, if the Pope thinks Biden is a good Catholic, then the bar is a heck of a lot lower than it needs to be. To just leave Donald Trump alone. I mean, if the bar is that low, just leave Donald Trump alone. Donald Trump is not pro-abortion, obviously. He's not pro-open border either. Again, the president that we have currently, his beliefs are more in line with Catholic teaching than Joe Biden ever was. Pope Leo himself has chosen not to condemn any Democrats, including Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, who, despite being on the wrong side of every Christian issue, was awarded something special by a cardinal. And Pope Leo didn't condemn that either. Here it is.
Just wanted to ask one thing that has become a bit of a divisive subject in the U.S. right now, with Cardinal Supich giving an award to Senator Durbin. Some people of faith are having a hard time with understanding this because he is he's for legalized abortion. How would you help people of faith right now decipher that, feel about that, and how do you feel about that?
I'm not terribly familiar with the particular case. I think that it's very important to look at the overall work that a senator has done during, if I'm not mistaken, 40 years of service in the United States Senate. I understand the difficulty and the tensions, but I think, as I myself have spoken in the past, it's important to look at many issues that are related to what is the teaching of the church.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, Dick Durbin isn't following the teachings of the church. He's aligned with a party that tells children that God might have made a mistake in giving them their gender, and then directs them to the nearest hospital for mutilation surgeries. He's aligned with a party that wants free abortions up to the moment of birth, no exceptions. But somehow that's not enough to get Pope Leo to speak against it, even though the Catholic Church apparently is opposed to such things. Instead, he's criticized the Trump administration for not actually being pro-life because they're deporting illegal aliens. Can't make it up. Listen.
Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. So someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. I don't know if anyone has all the truth on them, but I would ask first and foremost that there be greater respect for one another and that we search together both as human beings, in that case as American citizens or citizens of the state of Illinois, as well as Catholics, to say we need to really look closely at all of these ethical issues and to find the way forward as church.
Yeah.
The church teaching on each one of those issues is.
He didn't even accurately frame the issue. There's no inhumane treatment of immigrants. There's the enforcement of good laws against illegal aliens to protect legal residents. It's, you give to Caesar what's Caesar and to what yourself. Pope Leo comes from Chicago, where Catholic Charities raked in millions of dollars to transition illegal aliens into living in the United States by the Biden administration. So forgive me if I don't take his take on immigration seriously. How could I? Our border czar, Tom Holman, says he's a Catholic, but he couldn't disagree with the Pope more. Listen.
I'm not speaking for the president, I'm speaking for myself, a lifelong Catholic. I wish they stay out of immigration. They don't know what they're talking about. Because if they wore my shoes for 40 years and talked to a 9-year-old girl that got raped multiple times, or stood in the back of a trailer, tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old boy that baked to death, if they understood the atrocities that happened on the open border, I think their opinion would change. And I welcome discussion with any of them because they don't understand. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. Where President Trump had the most secure border in the lifetime of this nation right now, lives are being saved. He's saving thousands of lives a year because he has a secure border. Human traffickers are out of business, right? The cartels are going bankrupt because of that secure border. I wish they'd understand that, because if they did, I think they have a different opinion.
Yeah. Pope Leo called immigration a complex issue. That part's true, but refuses to acknowledge this side of the equation, which is the most important. My country, your country, which is why I have no problem with President Trump stating plainly that the Pope is getting some issues wrong. There's a war going on in Nigeria where Christians are being slaughtered like animals. I haven't heard the Pope say anything about that. So why is he spending so much time on Iran defending the Islamic regime that has stated the goal of wiping out Christianity and Western civilization altogether, right? He doesn't have time to visit Nigeria where Christians are under attack, but he did find time to visit Algeria's Grand Mosque this week, where he signed the Golden Book, which is a guest book to signal interfaith cooperation between religious leaders. a motion from the Vatican that shows support and friendship with a religion that is fundamentally opposed to its existence. He even walked around the mosque without shoes, affirming the Islamic leaders' belief that their mosque is holy ground. Algeria, by the way, ancient heart of Christianity in the 7th century, conquered by Arab armies, forced to turn into a nation of Islamic prayer. President Trump's unapologetic pushback against Pope Leo isn't disrespect, it's clarity. While the Vatican plays politics from the pulpit, Trump makes the hard calls that actually protect lives and preserve peace. The Pope can lecture about unjust wars and open borders, but he stays silent on slaughtered Christians in Nigeria and is cozy with regimes that despise the faith he leads. That's the bottom line. Donald Trump doesn't need the Pope's approval at all. He needs Iran to not have a nuclear weapon. That's something I also agree with. And that's the monologue. I'll take a break and be right back. Glad to have you here on Daybreak.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
You know, in case you missed it yesterday, the left would have you believe that the economy is in free fall. Everything's terrible. Well, the price of gas is up. That part's true. As a result of the spike in gas prices, as a result of what's happening in Iran, there could be an increase in inflation. But overall, things are pretty good. In fact, the stock markets, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ both closed in record territory. The S&P 500 closing above 7,000 for the first time this week. Record highs. The NASDAQ above 24,000. The Dow hanging in there. It's not quite at its all-time high, but those markets are doing incredibly well. Job opportunities are good. These tax returns, bigger than they've ever been. The average tax return in America is over $3,500. The biggest tax return in Teton County, that's in Wyoming, by the way. The biggest average tax return in America in that county, over $15,000. The average tax return in Teton County, Wyoming. That's where Jackson is, by the way, Jackson Hole. So it's a wealthy county, but still $15,000 plus the average tax return. I mean, that get your tax return and go buy a car, potentially. Anyhow, so the stock market is closing at record highs. That's good news for everybody. Oil today is at $91. That's also good news. Means that, you know, the Strait of Hormuz thing is not creating any further problems for anybody, especially not at the pump. Didn't check gas prices today. Let me check that for you, because that's always a curiosity. Gas prices down again. $4.09, the national average. It got up to about $4.17 before it started coming the other way. So a week ago it was $4.16.6. So it was $4.17 a week ago. Now it's $4.09. This part of the program brought to you by Puro Clean's Veterans Initiative, Puro Vet, because life after service deserves an opportunity, ownership, and purpose. These folks put veterans to the front of the line. If you're a veteran and would like an opportunity to have your own reclamation restoration company, here's your chance. Puro Vet, it's all part of Puro Clean. Give them a call, 855-PURO-VET, or go to purovet.com, purovet.com. Get on board for your entrepreneurial ride. Good folks, by the way. I'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
My name is Sandy Zeiss. RAV is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
Hi, Pat, from Muskegon, Michigan. Why do you love RAV?
Because we've become family. All those RAV live chatters and me.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Glad to have you on board as we continue our conversation today. It's been a busy week as always. Have we had a dull week anytime recently? Because if we have, I've missed it. All right. One of the things to keep up is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. We talk about health on this program all the time, as you know. My next guest has been coming on this program for years. Dr. Nan Hayworth, former member of Congress from New York, who was actually the first woman to and doctor. First female doctor to serve in Congress. Can you imagine? Nan, nice to see you again.
Very nice to be with you, Steve.
Yeah, good to have you here. It's been a bit, but like I said, for years, probably 10 years now, you've been coming on this program. Anyhow, the White House had a Make America Healthy Again meeting, and this is, I cannot overstate how important this is to me. I'm just going to go back a few weeks to when they took the food pyramid and threw it exactly where it belongs, which is in the garbage. They turned all of this stuff on and said, when they took and said, you know what, we're going to bring whole white milk back to school cafeterias. And of course, they got attacked for that being racist, which is the silliest thing. But anyhow, making America, we can't deal with mental health right now. Make America healthy again is a really important thing. Eating real food again. You know, there's some things I don't agree with RFK Jr. on, but all of the things I just said, we endorse completely here. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I'm very glad to see it, Steve. I'm with you. And what I like about the fact that the White House hosted this meeting was that it gave a chance for voices that have not necessarily been elevated in the public discourse to be heard and taken very seriously at the highest levels of our national leadership, obviously. So it's an emphasis, as you said, on returning to a model of nutrition that acknowledges that the diet that human beings generationally thrived on for not just generationally but millennia actually makes a lot of sense, and we've made a lot of mistakes in the past century in the United States about how we've been told, especially in the past 50, 60 years, about what we were told was good for our bodies versus bad. So one of the problems we have, of course, is it really is, speaking as a physician, an obesity epidemic. And one of the other things that I like about the emphasis on health holistically is that we're talking about making food choices that will help us to have a better body weight. I have a family history of metabolic syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, and one of the things that I do, and recent research has actually supported this, is that when we do have technology that helps us, that can be a very good thing. So,
let me ask you about a couple things here.
Sucralose.
First of all, two things. First of all, I think sugar is poison. All right, and I've talked about that on this program a number of times. Not, a little bit of sugar here and there is fine. But the mass quantities of sugar consumption in this country is killing us. When you have 20% of your elementary kids, not fat, obese. 20% of your kids in elementary school are obese, right? It's frightening. So yesterday, Ivy and I, on our podcast, Forgotten America, talked to a new gentleman, Dr. Leonard Sachs, and I found this to be fascinating. I want you to consider this. He said, when we grew up, he's about my age, your age, Nan, whatever. He said, you grew up, Mom put out dinner, there it was. Today, Mom puts out dinner, and the kids go, I don't want to eat that. I don't eat. Dad's instantly on the phone calling for a Domino's pizza. When you let 12-year-olds decide what's for dinner, they get fat, he said. When Mom puts out healthy food for dinner and you don't argue with your 12-year-old, which you shouldn't in the first place, you make healthy choices. He said, part of the obesity problem in America is a failure of parenting. What are your thoughts?
I do think there is an element to that, no question. It's challenging to be a parent in the modern era, especially with the influence of social media. But what you're talking about, Steve, in a certain measure, is the excessive amount of carbohydrates in our contemporary diets. And that, again, has been exacerbated by nutritional guidelines like the ones, as you rightly said, the food pyramid that was carb-based, essentially, that President Trump and Secretary Kennedy threw out and inverted. What we should be emphasizing is that carbs can definitely have an energy role in our diets, especially for kids, but that it's far better for us not to consume excessive sugar, not to consume excessive simple carbs. And yet a lot of us have a challenge. I know I do. I like sweetness. And I have a family history of diabetes, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, obesity, the whole thing. So one of the ways that I make sure that I can stay a very healthy weight and eat a healthy portfolio of foods with minimal carbs is to have artificial sweeteners like sucralose, which a recent study called the SWEET Study, very recently published, showed can actually help gut health and weight. So I think it's great that in the United States, we can have access to advances that do help us maintain that healthy weight and have the knowledge base in place at the highest levels of our government to guide healthier food choices overall.
Yeah, here's how I cheat. I'm going to tell the folks how I cheat. I've got this app on my phone. The electronic devil can be helpful sometimes, that phone of mine. But I've got this app called Yuka, Y-U-K-A, and you can go through the store, and as you go through the store, you can click the the code on the box, the UPC code, bam, it'll tell you what is in this particular product, whether it scores well and what the ingredients are and so on. And it's kind of a fun way to shop, too. For me, I'm fortunate insofar as Ivy, from the day that I met her a long time ago now, has always been focused on quality food, the fewest ingredients possible, the shortest distance between the field and your table, always better. Right, Nan? Always better. Keep it simple. Right. Keep it simple. Yes. All this over-processed stuff with all the sugar and the salt and the nonsense. Right. Skip that. I am so proud of Bobby Kennedy. I am. He's done more to change the American dietary approach than anybody in my lifetime, and I think that's a good thing. I'll give you the last word.
Yes, I agree with you, Steve, and I want to see this especially implemented in our schools. Yeah. As you say, fresh foods, whole foods. This is the way certainly my parents ate. I can't even say I ate that way. The kids in the 60s ate a lot of junk. Yeah. and I did too. So Secretary Kennedy is at the forefront of the movement to have kids and all Americans eating healthier, eating healthy again. Right. And that will lead to far better lifelong outcomes for us.
Yeah, no question. Nan Hayworth, so nice to see you.
Great to be with you, Steve.
You come
really
back
appreciate
anytime.
your voice.
I appreciate
Thank you.
For a long time now. Dr. Nan Hayworth, always a pleasant conversation with her. And remember, keep it simple. Get rid of the sugar, get rid of the garbage, get rid of the preservatives. The shortest distance between the field and your table is always best. My bread has 4 ingredients. Think about that, 4. I'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
My name is Sandy Zeiss. RAV is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
Hi, Pat, from Muskegon, Michigan. Why do you love RAV?
Because we've become family. All those RAV live chatters and me.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
next guest, Eric Cole, former CIA official, national cybersecurity expert. Looking at what's happening in Iran, it's been fairly quiet for a number of days now as the ceasefire seems to be holding. The United States, controlling who goes in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, it appears. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. The military blockade of Iranian ports and shipping seems to be working. Iran's losing about $400 million a day. That would equate to about $13-14 billion a month if it persists. The problem that Iran faces is, we're 4 days into this. They've only got about 2 weeks of storage for oil. If they don't find a way to store oil or keep the pumps going, they run into a long-term permanent problem, because once an oil well stops pumping, you don't just restart it. It doesn't work that way. It fills with brackish water. It becomes contaminated. You can't just start pumping oil again, right?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, this war is about pressure points. And we originally thought that bombing key infrastructure in Iran was a pressure point, and it wasn't. But what we're realizing is it's all about the oil. It's all about the economy. And I think we finally now hit a pressure point with Iran where now they realize, okay, we're serious. The problem is we're thinking that Iran's going to react rationally, and they never do. And that's my big concern. Every time we think we're on a good path and we're going down it and Iran's going to comply, they always do something out of the ordinary to cause harm to America or citizens.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, because quite clearly our strikes on infrastructure destroyed their Air Force, destroyed their Navy, destroyed their ability to do much of anything. Now, they can sit there and posture and talk about how they've got the Strait of Hormuz filled with mines, but nobody's found one yet. My guess is they're lying at this point. They're not telling the truth. We've got Navy destroyers out there that have mine-seeking ability. We've got underwater drones that have mine-seeking ability. We're controlling the ships that come and go. Iran doesn't really have any cards to play. Now, I agree with you. Iran does one thing exceptionally well: lie. And they've done it for 47 years. But right now, they have no cards that I can see. And America controlling the Strait of Hormuz puts Iran in a terrible position. Nobody else. We've been talking to China. China says they're not, apparently, according to the White House, not going to send any more military gear to Iran. China wants that oil to come. Well, guess who controls that? We do. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the one card they do have, and they've illustrated that they're very effective at it, is the cyber card. If you remember, several weeks ago, with the war going on, they struck a provider of medical supplies, Stryker, in the United States, which once again, short-term, small impact, but it's now having a big impact. I have a lot of friends that are doctors in the medical field, and they're like, supplies are not coming, transplants are being postponed. So that was an impact. They then also went in and targeted the head of the FBI, his personal email. So I think we have to realize the only card that Iran really has left is the cyber card, and they do have effective cyber weapons. So the concern is, if this continues to escalate and Iran does not think they have any other options, what other cyber attacks are they going to start to launch against the United States?
Yeah, I'm not sure what their abilities are. That's the thing. Nobody knows what their abilities are. But it would seem to me, Eric, that if they had capabilities, they would have rolled them out already, because their backs are against the wall. They've been pounded since the 28th of February. Like I said, their Navy has been sunk. Their Air Force has been blown out of the skies. They have the IRGC, 600,000 people, give or take, spread across 31 provinces. That's my question. Where is the IRGC really? Have they melded back into the general population, as these things often happen, or are they somewhere else? Because they've posed no real ability. I mean, we hear a lot of threats. And you go back 2 or 3, 4 weeks, and there were, bombs falling in Oman and UAE and in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. Haven't seen that in a number of days. Now, there is a ceasefire, but that notwithstanding, I just feel like Iran is really got their back against the wall. Last word to you.
I agree with you. I mean, we're definitely putting them in the corner, but the concern is when you corner someone like Iran, are they going to comply, or are they going to lash out and cause harm? And you're right, they have been trying cyber attacks and they haven't worked. But the unfortunate part with cyber is it only takes one person to click on a link or one weak server. So we just all have to be very, very vigilant and recognize that if the only card left in their deck is cyber, we have to all be vigilant in protecting ourselves, our families, and our country.
All right. Greatly appreciated, sir. Thank you for being here. We'll keep an eye on it. We don't want to have any problems here at home. Stryker, of course, a company not too far from where I am. Limited attacks so far. But yes, is there the possibility that we could take a hit? Yep. I saw a guy that I was talking to on the internet saying his concern is that the electrical grid gets hit. I can appreciate that. His concern was that a lot of people would die if the electrical grid was shut down for a number of days. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But if the lights in your house didn't work anymore, if your ATM card didn't work anymore, if you couldn't buy gasoline, what thing would push you over the edge? If there was no electricity, I just want you to game this out in your head. If there were no electricity, what would your concerns be? I'm pretty set here because we plan ahead, and I'm not some sort of a hoarder, prepper. I don't have 10,000 cans of green beans to rely on. But my question is, it's a serious question. This person I spoke to thought, well, 90% of America could die if we were without electricity for 2 or 3 months. I don't believe that's true. I think that it's a scary scenario, but anyhow, something to consider. By the way, if your flannel feels thin, flimsy, worn out, and it's spring, well, you need something new. It's not too late. Muskox flannels are built different, heavyweight, rugged, insanely comfortable. They are double brush cotton, actually holds up in cold weather. It's the perfect spring jacket. I'm telling you it is. Perfect spring jacket. We've got them everywhere around here. Even better, Muskox gives money to wildlife restoration and protection. And right now you can save $15 when you use the promo code HEAVYWEIGHT. GoMuskox.com. Promo code is HEAVYWEIGHT. Save $15. It is an investment. I'll give you that, but you're going to be glad you made it. GoMuskox.com, promo code HEAVYWEIGHT. Get your spring jacket, the perfect wool shirt. There you have it. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
My name is Sandy Zeiss. RAV is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
Hi, Pat, from Muskegon, Michigan. Why do you love RAV?
Because we've become family. All those RAV live chatters and me.
right. Well, Donald Trump has a plan for the Supreme Court. The rumors are getting much louder. Samuel Alito. It's too bad, but they get old. He's 76. He's had some health issues as of late. In fact, he was hospitalized here just recently, and they kept it a secret, they being his staff at the Supreme Court or whomever, but it wasn't out there. Kept secret by those in his inner circle. But Alito, rumored to be stepping down, wouldn't that be something? It would mean that Donald Trump gets a fourth pick for the Supreme Court, and if Clarence Thomas steps down, and I think Thomas is 79 or 80. I think Thomas is the oldest on the Supreme Court. The smartest thing that could happen right now is that Thomas and Alito both step down, to be honest with you, because otherwise they're going to age out, and if you don't win the election for president in 2 years, then that president gets a chance to pick Supreme Court justices. So I applaud the idea that if Alito's going to step down, it would happen right here mid-year, June or July. It'd be exciting. Middle of the year, we'd end up with, and of course, let me tell you what the Democrats will say. We must wait till the election to choose a Supreme Court justice. We must wait for the American people to speak. That'll be what they say, even though it'll be months ahead of the election. You can't pick a Supreme Court justice the same year's election. Yes, you can, and we will. Anyhow, Trump says he has a plan in place, by the way. I'm sure they do. Alito was appointed by George W. Bush, right? So he's been there, 20 years? They've got their short list. Make no mistake, they've got their list of potential justices sitting there. But Alito is 76, 2-decade tenure on the bench. You want to make sure a conservative successor is confirmed by the current Republican-led Senate, especially before the upcoming midterm elections. So there you go. I think Alito's I think he's headed for the exit. And I think the president's going to have a plan for that, but he won't leave until about the 1st of July. Wait till the session is over, the big cases are handed down, and then he will move on. We're not going to move on. We've got another hour here with you, straight ahead on Daybreak. I'll be joining us as well coming up. Pretty exciting, right? I'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. President Trump says his blockade in the Strait of Hormuz is underway. Moments ago, he posted that 34 ships went through the strait yesterday, marking the highest number since Iran's closure. In another post, 47 sending a strong warning to Iran not to send its remaining sea vessels towards U.S. warships. Quote, warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against drug dealers on boats at sea. RAV correspondent Neil McCabe joining us live from the White House with the very latest. Neil, good to see you, my friend. So the president taking the next step in the war on Iran, if you will.
That's right. The president is basically flipping the script on the Iranians because they had said that they're going to turn it into a toll booth where they approve who goes in and who's out, and then they charge a fee. The president is basically flipping that script, and he's saying, actually, anybody who's associated with Iran is neither getting in nor out. Central Command confirmed that at 10 a.m. in the East, that embargo went into effect, and it put out a notice to mariners saying, hey, give us your plans, tell us who you are, and monitor Channel 16. And if you're associated with the Iranians, prepare for a boarding, Terrence.
No, absolutely. All of this obviously coming after what I think anyone would agree are failed negotiations between Iran and the United States over the weekend. But President Trump holding steady on the fact that what is key is that Iran will not and cannot be nuclear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a sine qua non for the president. And frankly, that's been American policy for decades. It's just no one ever did anything about it until President Trump. And so we saw the Vance going to Islamabad for negotiations. I didn't do the math, but I'm guessing he was probably spent as much time in the air as he spent at the negotiating table. And he sort of sized up where the Iranians are at. And it's my feeling that the Vance and his team were getting a read from the Iranians that they have cards that the president doesn't think they're holding. And so rather than waste any more time, Vance and the team went back to D.C., reported to the president, and they're putting this blockade plan in effect. And we'll see how it goes. Remember, we did have 4 Sea Dragon anti-mine helicopters that the Pentagon shipped out like a year ago. We also had minesweepers in Bahrain that were shipped out 2 years ago or decommissioned. And so right now the Navy is spinning up a minesweeping operation using the littoral combat ships based in Bahrain. They're using aircraft, but they're also using human EOD elements. So you're basically having underwater demolition experts who are actually going to be tasked with taking down some of these mines. We also had a freedom of navigation patrol with the 2 destroyers, Peterson and Murphy, last night. So this is on, and this is real, Terrence.
Neil, before I let you go, I want to talk about potential expulsions in the U.S. House this week. Eric Swalwell, of course, is getting all the headlines, but at least 3 others are facing possible expulsions. Can you break that all down for us?
Yeah, it's bizarre, the unwinding of the Eric Swalwell campaign for governor and basically his political career, which was on a trajectory for the last decade since he was a city councilor in Fresno, even running for president in 2020. The revelations of his misconduct with interns and staffers has been the straw that broke the camel's back. And so there was a movement over the weekend to force him to resign. If he doesn't resign, the Republicans have said they will expel him. And while they're at it, they'll also expel Tony Gonzalez from Texas, Corey Mills, Sheila Sharfilius McCormick, and then, of course, Swalwell. So you have 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats on the bubble, and that expulsion could happen this week, Terrence.
Interesting times are afoot, both at the White House and across town on Capitol Hill. Neil, always good to see you, my friend. Appreciate your reporting live from the White House this morning. All right, so that's Neil McCabe there at the White House. Again, a lot happening at the White House. You just heard from the president moments before that report from Neil. Keep it tuned right here on Real America's Voice for the very latest out of Washington.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
It is time to call once again to get rid of that slush fund. Millions of dollars to cover up the shady behavior of people on Capitol Hill, often involving sexual behavior. I frankly am sick of it because Democrats now admit, because how can they deny it? They admit they knew all along about Eric Swalwell and his behavior. Listen to this.
So last hour, Democratic Congressman Sam Liccardo of California said this about the Swalwell allegations. Let's listen.
I first heard about the rumors when Swalwell announced his run for governor in November and knew some political consultants who talked about what we call oppo files, these opposition records that political consultants compile talking about Swalwell's sexual misconduct. At that time, nobody was talking about rape, as we're hearing now. It was not sexual assault, but clearly sexual misconduct, abusive.
Yeah. The point is, everybody knew it. Ivy's here now. And Ivy, look, they're all in this club together. As long as they, and I'm going to tell you, I believe that this is worse for Democrats. As long as they have power.
Yep.
They'll let these sleazebags do whatever. They don't care about the victims. They don't care about who gets hurt. I mean, how many women have been killed by illegal aliens? But they want those people here for political power. I'm sorry if I'm a little jaded this morning, but that's where I am.
Well, I think that what you are describing there is that they have no ethics. They have no principles to guide their life. And it is more important for them to have power and influence. And it doesn't matter. Anything else is besides the point. It's, you can do whatever you want in your life. You can be a complete scumbag. And as long as you are our mouthpiece for the Democratic cause, then we're just going to turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
And that is wrong. And it's not only, I think, you talk about the slush fund, not only for bad behavior, sexual misconduct, whatever the case may be, but also like fraud.
Yeah.
And it brings me to what's happening in Minnesota. And I want you to hear this soundbite of a roll call that was taken yesterday. Let's hear it.
No. Vice Chair Schultz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hollins?
No.
Representative Allen?
Yes.
Representative Coulter?
No.
Representative Frederick?
No.
Representative Howard?
No.
Representative Jacob?
Jacob, yes.
Representative Jordan?
No.
Representative Cagle?
No.
Representative Nash?
Yes.
All right.
So what you heard there, Steve, is every Democrat in the Minnesota House Rules Committee voted to block investigations into fraud under Tim Walz.
Seriously?
Every single Democrat voted no.
So just so I'm clear, last number I heard was north of $10 billion of money stolen from the taxpayers of Minnesota. Yeah. Stolen. So by whomever, and the Democrats don't want to tell the taxpayers what the truth is.
Correct. And this just goes along the line of what you're talking about. This is not just a federal issue. This is a statewide issue, too, in each state in America.
It's an issue of morality. Right?
People, yes. Taxpayers sent money to all sorts of organizations in Minnesota to the tune of, what would you say, $40 million. And there's no accountability for that. People are sick of this.
$40 billion.
Billion dollars.
Yeah, $9 billion is the number that keeps coming up that they have confirmed was stolen.
Right.
Much of it from the Somali community in Minneapolis, we know. Mm-hmm. But some saying it's double that. But it wouldn't matter if it was $1 billion.
And honestly, if it was on the other side, if a Republican had stolen this money and committed this fraud, there would be outrage 24/7.
Of course there should be.
And there should be, but it just shows you the difference between how the Democrats behave and...
Well, let me bring this full circle because we're about to find out. Mm-hmm. Because Swalwell obviously is where we started this conversation. They all knew. Nancy Pelosi knew. Hakeem Jeffries knew. They all knew. All right, let's just put that out there. Let's just be done with the silliness. They kept him because he was a convenient attack dog. He went after Trump. He was in charge of the impeachment. He was involved with, screaming about Epstein and all this and that. Mm-hmm. His best friend is the senator from Arizona, Ruben Gallego. Best friends. They traveled everywhere together on private jets together to these. I've seen the videos of them partying in Puerto Rico. They're hammered, which is whatever. But for Gallego to say, I had no idea. Yes, he knew. And now there is information that both Swalwell and Gallego used campaign money
to buy prostitutes.
Well, and a lot of other things. It doesn't matter. You're spending it on private parties is illegal. Spending it on prostitutes is illegal. And we're going to find out if the Democrats are honest or not. Because Gallego is as dirty. I'm going to make an assumption here that Gallego is as dirty as the day is long because, what do we talk about here, Ivy? Show me your friends. I'll show you who you are.
I wonder what kind of culpability people have when they know that these things are going on or they're taking part in these things. And in terms of like sexual misconduct, if Swalwell did in fact, drug women to then take advantage of them sexually, that is horrific. What kind of culpability do people have when, like say Nancy Pelosi or others knew that this was going on and they just turned a blind eye? Is there, what kind of responsibility do they have?
Well, maybe not legal, but again, morally, what is your responsibility? If you know, and they did. If you know that this guy's out there doing X, Y, and Z,
right,
and you hear one rumor, okay, you hear a couple of okay, you hear 50 rumors, it's not a rumor anymore, it's a pattern of behavior.
Well, it brings me to, there was I don't remember the college, but there was a coach and he was molesting the players on the team, and other coaches knew about it.
Yeah, Penn State. And so those people were held accountable, were they not?
Some were. That were.
At Michigan State, you had those whole horrible thing that happened as well.
Right.
With Dr. Nasser.
I want to, if I can, just switch gears really quickly here if I have time.
40 seconds.
I don't have time then. But I would say, so.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Doing my best.
Bill Maher, actually, I had pulled a bite from him, and he was talking about, that our young people today just don't understand how good they have it.
No, they don't. It's funny you should bring that up. Young people today don't understand how good they really have it. Right. Huh. Isn't that something? Yes. They have it really good and complain about their perfect lives.
Right. Well, listen, Steve, I appreciate you, and I love you.
I appreciate you, too. I love you, too.
Thank you.
Young people need to have a little bit of discomfort in their lives. They have it way too. Food on every corner, smartphones, instant delivery. Yeah. I'll take a break on Daybreak.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
My name is Sandy Zeiss. RAV is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
Hi, Pat, from Muskegon, Michigan. Why do you love RAV?
Because we've become family. All those RAV live chatters and me.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
All right, welcome back to it. Glad to have you here on Daybreak on this Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, your chance to weigh in. We look forward to talking to you all over this great country of ours. All right, now I welcome in Dr. Kathy Sarvis, nationally recognized wellness strategist and educator with over 3 decades of experience empowering women to elevate their health, confidence, and performance through science-backed, results-driven strategies. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Steve. I'm thrilled to be here.
Glad to have you here. Look, we've talked about this for decades, we being the American people, for example. People on this program talking about the health. Sun damage, dark spots, aging, all these things, damage to the skin. We used to slather on this, this baking butter, whatever they called it back in the 70s or 80s, over time does a lot of damage, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. So one of my favorite products for skincare that I have recently found is an amazing company called Purance. They are an organic skincare brand who's been turning heads in Elle and LA Weekly. To date, they've helped over 60,000 women fall in love with their skin complexion again. Purance delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives, which I totally love.
So you take care of your skin. Because one of the things that I've been reading about and watching videos about, a lot of these lotions or sunscreen products, maybe not the best for your skin, maybe not the best for your skin health. Am I wrong about that?
You are absolutely correct. There's so many chemicals in so many of these products. So one of the things I love about Purins is the natural aspect to their products. And one of my favorites is their Cellular Restore Serum. It features a gentle alternative to retinol called bakuchiol. In a small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles after just 3 weeks of applying Cellular Restore Serum. So you're getting similar benefits as retinol, but without the redness or irritation. Then there's Cellular Hydration Serum, which contains tremella mushroom. Tremella hydrates the deepest layers of skin better than hyaluronic acid. It's such a fantastic moisturizer. They also have Lift and Glow Organic Eye Cream. Listen, if you want to lighten the appearance of dark under eye circles and restore a radiant complexion, then you'll love Lift and Glow. And then finally, they have Even Glow Serum. Even Glow features Kakadu Plum, which delivers 100 times more concentrated vitamin C than oranges. Even Glow works wonders for reducing dark spot appearance.
Sounds like they have a whole system here, Doctor. One step, another step, another step. It's just a complete strategy for skincare is what it sounds like to me.
They truly do. And right now, for a limited time, you can save 35% on all Purins products. Simply go to Purins.com and enter coupon code EARLY at checkout. Every purchase is backed by their industry-leading 365-day money-back guarantee.
All right. Well, that sounds terrific. Hey, by the way, just one question here. You keep talking about how it's great for women. What, am I out in the cold here?
No, you know what? I think it's great for all of us. I tend to find that mostly women are focused on their skin, but men, it's great for you as well. And Steve, it'll be fantastic for you.
I'm just checking. Thank you, Doctor. I want to make sure that I wasn't being left out of the party. All right. So sun damage, dark spots, aging, Purins. You can find out more. And by the way, there's a coupon code EARLY. You can save 35% today. It's at Purance.com. That's PUREANCE.com. PUREANCE.com. Enter the coupon code EARLY. You will save 35% on your order today. So there you have it. Doctor, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good morning.
Yeah, and so far, Purance has helped over 60,000 women and a few guys to fall in love with their skin again. Purance delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Their Cellular Restore Serum features a gentle alternative to retinol. And in a small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles in just 3 weeks by applying the Cellular Restore Serum. Their Cellular Hydration Serum contains tremella mushroom, which hydrates the deepest layers of skin better than hyaluronic acid. Then there's Lift and Glow Organic Eye Cream. If you want to lighten the appearance of dark under eye circles and restore radiant complexion, this is it. You're going to love all of this. Lift and Glow. Finally, they have Even Glow Serum. Even Glow features Kakadu Plum, which delivers 100 times more concentrated vitamin C than oranges. Even Glow works wonders for reducing spot appearance. All of it. And you can get it now 35% off Purance.com. You simply go to Purance.com, enter the promo code EARLY, and you're off to the races. All right, there you have it. So, back to where we were. I want to go back and shift back a little bit to what Ivy and I were just talking about. Because the idea that these people in Washington have no idea what's going on, it's not believable. It's simply not believable. And Jonathan Turley, one of my favorites over the years, really called it out here recently. Listen to this.
I've been one of his most vocal critics for years, and you have Democrats now calling him a monster, but very few people in the establishment or the media want to talk about who created that monster. And the fingerprints are rather obvious. I would include in that list Nancy Pelosi. He actually cited Pelosi as his mentor. She was the one who rescued him. And in 2020, when the Fang Fang scandal came out, where he was accused of having an affair with a accused Chinese County spy, it was Pelosi that intervened and said, I have no concerns about Eric Swalwell. When people said, at least take him off the House Intel Committee, she said no. She actually intervened and said he's going to stay on that committee. And she now says that she had no idea. Well, these allegations have been around for years. He was a loose cannon in Washington, D.C., but he had a purpose. You know, he was that attack dog straining on the leash, and the person holding that leash, I view as Nancy Pelosi.
Man, what an indictment that is, right? Bam! What an indictment. An attack dog straining at the leash, and the person holding the leash is Nancy Pelosi. I agree with that. All right, we'll take a break and be back. It is Daybreak.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry, like, Lord, save me, can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on
Speaking of scumbags, we have been speaking of scumbags, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in the days of old, a Swalwell wouldn't have to worry about him going to jail or to prison. They'd just go beat the hell out of him. I mean, honestly, if you're a scumbag like that, just beat the hell out of him, you know. But the good old days are not here anymore, right? But speaking of scumbags, Hunter Biden. You remember him, right, Anthony? Hunter Biden, your hero. Now living abroad, legal troubles are mounting for poor Hunter. Can't pay his attorneys. But apparently, I don't know where he lives exactly. His attorney, Barry Coburn, disclosing that Hunter Biden's current living situation is this. Mr. Biden lives abroad. He cannot pay his current lawyers. Nobody's sure where the 56-year-old has gone, but his wife, Melissa Cohen Biden, is originally from Cape Town in South Africa. Melissa Cohen Biden, and they were recently visiting Cape Town, so maybe he ended up in South Africa. I don't know. I've been to South Africa a couple times, never went to Cape Town. It was in Johannesburg and elsewhere, but never made it to Cape Town. Here it's a nice city. Maybe it's a nice place to hide out if you're a former first son that owes thousands and thousands of dollars to your lawyers. Potentially. He was in Santa Ynez, California over Easter weekend, but now he's gone again. The information submitted in a Washington, D.C. courtroom by Winston and Strawn. They recently represented him in a series of criminal cases that drew intense scrutiny. According to the filings, the former first son has not paid a substantial portion of the fees owed to his legal team. He reportedly has limited financial resources and also cannot afford to hire specialized professionals to assist with the lawsuit, citing instances that Biden manually hand-searched his own emails to locate relevant documents. Gosh, he had to go look for his own emails? Oh, the stress of it all. Please. Hunter Biden. Not just a scumbag, not just a dirtbag, but a deadbeat. Who's surprised? You in the back? Oh, you're asleep. You're not raising your hand. Sorry. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry, like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Well, yesterday afternoon, I had the unique opportunity to speak with the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, for a few minutes. Here's part of that conversation. Let me fold in one other cabinet member that I think goes hand in hand with what you're doing, and that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And the reason I say that is a return to real food. A return to the real food pyramid, whole milk in schools, real food on the table, helping America to eat healthy again. And where does that start? Starts in your department with the farmers, doesn't it?
Amen. You know, it's funny. Bobby Kennedy, and I didn't know him before. As you know, a lot of our cabinet came from the America First Policy Institute, which was the policy organization that I founded walking out of the first Trump White House. And then those that weren't part of AFPI, we sort of knew each other from other things. Either they served on the Hill or we worked together in the first Trump term. The only one I literally had never shaken his hand was Bobby Kennedy. And we ended up getting voted on the same day. It was a Friday, February 13th. Actually, it was Thursday, February 13th of last year. We were voted on the same day. I was first, he was second, and then we went and got sworn in. I was sworn in by Justice Thomas, and he was sworn in by Attorney General, then Pam Bondi, I believe. And the very next day, one of the big media outlets here in D.C. ran a front-page story speculating on who the first divorce in the Trump administration was going to be. And they had a wedding cake, and at the very top of the wedding cake was Bobby on one side and me on the other, and a cake cutter going down the middle with, us falling apart immediately. Yeah. And I thought, oh, I don't know that that could be true, because, he comes from a very different background than I, and I'm here to protect agriculture, and there we just disagree on some things. But instead, what has happened is this, I believe, game-changing partnership between Health and Human Services and U.S. Department of Agriculture. We have figured out how to work on the 85-90% of things we do agree on, which is getting real food back onto Americans' dinner plates, which is recalibrating our entire food supply and our dietary guidelines, instead of around processed foods and foods that aren't good for you, around real food. And to hear Bobby now say the single most important component of making America healthy again is the farmer and the rancher, from Bobby Kennedy, that's just incredible, and it's just remarkable. So I think God has a hand in all of this. I think he brought some very different people together for this moment in our nation's history, and I think we're making a real difference that will reap dividends for decades and decades and decades to come.
Well, absolutely. Look, we're trying to get rid of chronic illnesses, obesity in children, problems with high blood pressure, and all these things. It's solved by the things that you eat, and therefore, if we shorten that distance between the farm field and the table, that's really going to help people. Let me ask you this. We've only got about a minute left here. Are you optimistic as you look out across America today? You travel a lot. You see the farmers and the ranchers. Are you optimistic?
I tell you what, I took this job. I'm from rural America. I have an agriculture background. Cattle in Texas, row crops in Minnesota. I have an agriculture degree from Texas A&M. But for many years, I was a policy entrepreneur. I built policy organizations. I worked for the president in the last term. I had been very involved in agriculture, but I had never focused on it completely until the president asked me to take this job. I stepped in knowing that the farm economy had struggled for many, many years, that we have a dysfunctional, maybe too strong of a word, but we have a market that has become too consolidated, too owned by foreign interests, farmland that China has been purchasing. All of these things have taken us to this moment. We've lost so many tens of thousands of family farms over the years. America's gotten sicker and sicker. These are real existential issues that really, if we don't fix them, Steve, we will lose our country. But having said all of that, kind of laying out how challenging these times are for our farmers and ranchers in rural America, the infrastructure that we are putting in place to solve for that, whether it was in this Working Families Tax Cut Act, opening 18 new trade markets with 18 new trade deals, fighting for things like 45Z in a domestic market. We had the seafood office at USDA open today. Never before has USDA focused on seafood, our farmers of the sea. And as a result, they have been crushed by Russia and China, by wind energy that's crushed their fishing areas out in the sea. We've got the timber farmers that have been completely obliterated by the radical left agenda. All of these things we're now changing here at USDA, while at the same time bringing the cost of inputs down and deregulating. Why can't a farmer fix his own tractor? Like, that is literal insanity, that there's a federal government that is telling a farmer, sorry, you've got to take your tractor in and let somebody else work on it for $30,000 versus being able to solve it yourself. Or the diesel exhaust fuel rule, or NEPA, right? Oh, sorry, that water pond you put in over there to water your cattle, the federal government is now going to put you in jail because you didn't get the right permission, even though it's the size of a conference table. I mean, our federal government has literally lost its mind, as we all have seen. That's why I think President Trump resonated so compellingly to America in 2015, 2016, 2020, and then certainly in 2024, winning every swing state and winning the popular vote, which most people didn't think a Republican would ever win the popular vote again. But he did, and it was on these issues. And I'll tell you, we're going to spend every minute of every day for the rest of the time we have delivering on those promises and working so hard to recapture the great American experiment that our founders launched 250 years ago. And it's the greatest honor of my life to be a part of that.
Ex-Secretary Brooke Rollins, it's been an honor to have you here today. It is such an important endeavor, and the partners you have, whether it's Secretary Lutnick or Secretary Kennedy, all working together to fix, as you pointed out, decades of issues. Last word to you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you to all of your listeners who, I say this all the time. Our country was founded by a handful of ordinary guys who were called together to meet a moment to save the world, frankly, and to launch this revolutionary experiment of self-governance, which brought freedom and liberty and prosperity and safety in ways that no one ever could have predicted or knew. But those guys, George Washington was a farmer, right? Thomas Jefferson was a teacher. Alexander Hamilton was an orphaned student, a very smart one, but nevertheless, basically a nobody. And they're just ordinary guys who were called for that moment. And I do believe that's the moment we're in right now. I think that President Trump was called for this moment. I think, those of us who pay attention on what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania in, July, almost 2 years ago, can really feel that with everything we have. All of us in the cabinet feel it with everything we have. We walk in that cabinet room and we know we've been called for this moment to save this country at this time. But really all the people, as I started with a thank you and I'll finish with that, all of the people that listen to you, Steve, and the work that you do, you help us keep this going by getting the word out on all that we're doing. And in a world where we have to deal with the mainstream media, you were the front line and being able to allow us to get this message out and to fight and stay in it and talk to your neighbors and show up to vote and support the right candidates. We have to, or we're going to lose our country.
I think I agree with you right across the board on what you just said. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here. It's been an honor, Madam Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I can't wait to be back on and maybe even be back in that beautiful part of the country very soon.
Michigan's a beautiful place. You're right about that. Thank you.
The best. The best. Thanks. Have a great day.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts. Everyone from Terry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump coming before, retribution.
Hi, my name's Paul Poyer. I'm Poyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Trying to get perspectives from all over the country, as we do here on the program. Going south to Miami now, Oscar De La Rosa, an attorney, former member of the Miami City Council, joining me now. Oscar, good to have you here today.
Steve, good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Nice to see you here today. All right, so obviously midterms are on the minds of everybody looking forward, but a lot of things to play into that. Let's start with the economy. We set all-time records on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. We're setting all-time records despite everything going on in the Gulf. And the Democrats preaching doom and gloom. It seems that the jobs numbers last month, 178,000 new jobs. You've got the markets performing well. Yes, gas a little bit more expensive. It's going to push inflation a little bit. But overall, from where I sit here in Michigan to where you sit in Florida, things don't look too bad to me, Oscar. Your thoughts?
See, look, I'll be honest with you. You know, the majority of the population in South Florida is a Latino community. It's a hardworking community. We see jobs. You know, we see a lot of construction going on. It's our primary construction, and obviously hospitality is one of our largest industries here in South Florida. We see things doing very well. Our biggest concern, obviously, like you mentioned, is the price of gas. I think the last barrel price of crude oil is between $88 and $90, which is a reasonable range, right? You know, during the Obama administration, we saw prices hit almost $115 a barrel, and we didn't have, you know, this conflict in the Strait of Hormuz like we have today. Look, I think the economy is strong. I think the biggest concern that we have facing the midterm elections is the Hispanic population. You know, that's my biggest concern. And I think he's doing a good job. You know, I think he's focused on the areas of Venezuela. He's focused on the areas of Cuba. So he's showing the Latino community that he cares for us. He wants to continue to work hard for us. The situation in the Strait of Hormuz obviously, you know, caused prices of oil to go up a little bit. But I think it's stabilizing because the world's realizing there's alternative routes and alternative options. It's not just being faced with having to deal with Iran's hostage takeovers of these tariffs or these fees that they want to charge you if you don't cooperate with them. So I think it'll get better in the comings of the months.
Yeah, I think that we're done with the tribute payments, as they used to call them, with the pirates there in the Mediterranean back in the day. So we're done with that.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah, they're tribute payments. We're an Islamic republic, and therefore you have to pay us. Thomas Jefferson 100%. Was offered the same deal, and he just put together the U.S. Marines and went and killed them. So the Barbary pirates, I guess there's one way to, I guess we kind of consider the same plan. But as I look at oil today, $91 a barrel, and I'm quite familiar with the Hispanic community in Florida. My wife hails from that from that state and from the same community. Hardworking people.
That's great to hear.
Well, yeah, that are faithful people, hardworking people that believe in America. And this is a really important part of it. Assimilating and being part of America, not just setting up your own camp over here and saying, I live in America, but I hate America. Well, we need to be done with that nonsense, don't we?
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I think that, right, for you know the population, there's two different types of Hispanics. The Hispanics that come to the United States that want a better life, they want to work hard, they want to create a family, they want to raise their family, have an education, buy a property, and then the other ones want to come take advantage of the system. And no one's against deporting those people. We want people that want to come to the United States. We want immigrants that want to participate in our economy. We want immigrants that want to make this a better country, because that's the reason why we all left the original country to begin with. And if you think your other country's so great, then you can go back to your own original country.
Right, and you know, with tax day passing this week, and you talk about all the construction in South Florida, which is a tremendous amount of construction. Look, you get into concrete work and siding and roofing and so forth. I mean, you got hardworking crews out there. Look, the good news is they got more money back in their tax refund than they have ever, so that's a pretty good step in the right direction. But I think you're right on it, Oscar. For the midterms to be successful for the Republicans, the backbone of that is going to be the Hispanic voters, which are about 20% of voters in America now, concentrated some places more than others, like Texas and Florida, but big communities in Michigan too. And it's going to be based on where the economy is, where the cost of living is, and where the possibilities lie. Are they optimistic about the future and where we're going? That's really critical, isn't it?
I look 100% agree. And what you have to take always into consideration is the Hispanic community left their original home for better economic opportunities, right? So prosperity is the number one, prosperity and obviously safety and persecution of freedom of speech. But prosperity is number one on that item of priorities for the reason why they come to this country. And if they're here and obviously prices are escalating and things are expensive, they're the first ones that feel it. So they're the first ones that complain. That's what we need to make sure. That's why this, war of Iran, we need to get it under control. This conflict in Iran, we need to get this under control as soon as possible, because the Hispanic voter.
Oscar, I don't mean to jump in, but do you really think that the war in Iran is a top tier concern for the folks where you live? Is it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I think, honestly, where I live specifically, Cuba is the only thing we talk about, to be honest with you.
There you go. I'd like to see that place free, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. That would be a huge game changer. The unfortunate part is that the Cuban population is a very small percentage of the total voting class in terms of Hispanics nationwide. But I think it's a great sign that shows you where he lies, or it shows you that what he's capable of. And look, as a president, that when he gives you his word, he comes through with it. And he's shown it. Obviously, Israel for many years has been lobbying the United States with trying to help us with Iran. This is the first president that actually had, the courage to do something and do it quickly. He shoots from the hip, and it's a president that shows you that he gets all the information, and once he makes a decision, he goes and does it. We stand by the decision he made in Iran. I think it was the correct decision, to be honest with you. You had to get rid of that, the Ayatollah. They could not have a nuclear weapon, absolutely under no circumstances. Now it's just a matter of cleanly and quickly getting out of that region.
Yeah, I think Cuba. Look, I thought it would have happened by now. I think they're teetering down there. I think it would be lovely to see that island free again, to see Havana be a world-class city again. It'll take a while to rebuild from 1959 until now, but it would be a positive thing. Oscar, really good talking to you. You come back anytime. We'll talk about how things are in South Florida and how it impacts the elections. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a great day.
I appreciate it. There you have it, Oscar De La Rosa. The Hispanic community, look, everybody knows. That was the power behind Donald Trump's Electoral College win in 2024. Could be, again, it's a critical voting bloc. Need to look after their concerns, and their concerns are the same as everybody else. How can I raise my family? How can I pay the bills? These are important considerations every day. I'll take a break and be right back.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love real America's voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts. Everyone from Carrie Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
All right, time to check in on sports now with my good friend Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. The NBA's play-in tournament continued last night. In the East, the Philadelphia 76ers clinched the 7th seed with a 109-97 victory over the Orlando Magic in Philly. Tyrese Maxey led the Sixers with 31 points, who will now face the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs this weekend. Orlando will host the Charlotte Hornets for the 8th seed tomorrow night. Out west, the Golden State Warriors eliminated the Los Angeles Clippers with a 126-121 victory on the road in the 9 versus 10 matchup. Steph Curry led the Warriors with 35 points. The Dubs will head to Phoenix to play the Suns tomorrow night for the 8th seed out west. In Major League Baseball yesterday, a full schedule. American League winners included Boston, Detroit, and Houston. National League winners included Atlanta, Milwaukee, and the LA Dodgers. In the NHL, there were 6 games. Winners included Florida, Ottawa, Chicago, and Vegas. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that. Now, look, coming up in the next hour, you may have missed this, but I can tell you this is an interesting thing that the articles of impeachment have been begun against the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. You thought I was going to say Trump, didn't you? No, not well. I mean, they'll try to impeach Trump 27 more times. If the Democrats get the House next week, they're going to vote in Virginia on rigging the elections in that state for Congress, right? It's fine. They're going to, you'll have the entire eastern seaboard of America with no Democrats. Excuse me, with no Republicans and only Democrats. And that's pretty frightening. They want one-party rule, and then they want to change the rules so that nobody else can ever get voted in. That's it. It's the game. It's what they're doing. Make no mistake. It's how it's being played. At any rate, glad to have you here. You can find out more at stevegruber.com. Follow me there. Follow me on all the social media platforms. And Ivy, too. Look up Steve Gruber. Look up Ivy. Ivy-E-Y, by the way. Look her up, too. She'll be joining me for more conversation coming up in the next hour. All the social media platforms. And don't forget YouTube. New episodes of Forgotten America. Out every week, every Monday. Great stuff. You're really going to like it. People listen to it think it's really good. There it is. Become a free subscriber right here. Yeah, right here. Anyhow.
Or just search Steve Gruber.
Or just search Steve Gruber. Search me. More after this.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate.